Hello everybody, happy Friday. Welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new, my name's Sophia, and for all of my returning watchers, thanks so much for popping back on. Today I have a little Copenhagen recap video I'm very excited to share with you. And I'm going to be sharing my top tips and little secrets that I discovered while I was there. And maybe a few pictures along the way. But let's roll the intro and get into the recap. Alrighty, cutie pies. So last weekend I went to Copenhagen for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, which I have to say is like the perfect amount of time to be in a city, especially when you're a solo traveler and you just want to see all the sights. Like a little over 72 hours was perfect. I stayed at the Steel House Copenhagen, which was a beautiful hostel. 10 out of 10 would recommend. I was in a mixed dormitory, and I will say the rooms were a little bit tight, but it was still very nice. The duvets were like, I was like asleep, so comfy, so snug. But it was really lovely. So if you're looking for a place to stay, I would 10 out of 10 recommend. I flew in London to Copenhagen on Wednesday, and what I had done was I had purchased a Copenhagen card before I even left. Now, this is like the most genius thing that I have stumbled upon. If I'm like just now catching on to this, I'm sorry that this is old news, but to me it was new news. Copenhagen card, okay? It gets you into 80 attractions in the city and free public transportation. So you can take the bus, you can take the ferry, you can take the metro, you can take it all, and you just have to scan your little Copenhagen card. It was so good. When I went to Barcelona, I had been to Barcelona before. It's very English friendly, and I kind of knew what I wanted to hit. I had kind of had a lay of the land, but I've never been to Copenhagen before. I've never been to Denmark, and so I knew I had things that I wanted to get done on my list, but this just made it so much easier to do it because I didn't have to fiddle with the public transportation system, figuring out how to get a metro card. I didn't have to pay every time I wanted to go to attraction, like a museum, whatever, And it was just all on my phone. It made it planning my trip very, very easy. And I 10 out of 10 would suggest, if you are going to Copenhagen, you just do it. They have different day levels, so you can buy it for 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours, or I think you can buy it for a full week. And you can customize some of the things to it. I just got the generic 72-hour pass, and I feel like I got my money's worth out of it. It worked out to be about $30 a day, but I was seeing 3 or 4 attractions plus using transportation. So in my head, like that was worth the spend. I will say I did have a lot of museum time, and for me, I am not a museum person, okay? The best part about a museum is the gift shop and the cafe, and I was actually blown away with the way that museums were laid out in Denmark. And if museums were laid out the way they are in Denmark, everywhere, I would be at the museums more. One thing that they did at all of the museums that made it super travel friendly was every single place, every single museum, every single like attraction site had free coat check and free bag check with free lockers. You don't understand how great this is until you're lugging around your winter wear that you're wearing and you go inside and the heat's on and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna die. And 2, you're carrying your heavy backpack with all of your stuff in. Because when you fly in at the butt crack of dawn and you can't check in till 3, you've got all your stuff with you. And same on the way out, I always make sure that I get an evening flight so I still have the full day. You're having to carry your stuff around. So this just made it super duper easy to experience the like museums and attractions just hassle free. I was absolutely blown away. I was like, oh, this just has to be this one museum that I'm at. Every single one of them, it's like they want you to take your time and explore, and they want you to be comfortable. The bathrooms, absolutely impeccable. And let's talk about public potties. They have public potties on the street that I was like, so nice, so clean, so nice, very English friendly. I was there in the middle of November. It was cold, the wind was whipping, but like it was not busy. I am very sad because I did miss Tivoli, which is the amusement park that Disney was kind of like dreamed up about afterwards. It's like the second oldest amusement park in the world, but they were closed to put up their holiday decorations. They open up next weekend. I'm really sad I missed it, but that means I definitely have to go back. I saw a bunch of different museums. I saw a bunch of different of the main attractions. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the name of them because I'm going to butcher it because I don't speak any Danish. But as a gluten-free traveler, I will also say the food was pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. I did find 2 bakeries that were specifically gluten-free. Now, I'm gonna tell you a cautionary tale. This is a cautionary tale for my gluten-free girlies. There's this beautiful gluten-free vegan bakery. If you Google gluten-free bakeries in Copenhagen, it's like the first one that pops up. On the sign, there's a sign on the door when you walk in that's like, hey, everything's gluten-free, da 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 da. I went in there day one. That's always my first stop. I always find a bakery first and get a pastry. I got 2 pastries. I got this huge cinnamon roll and I also got this cream puff. And I ate them both, well, like right off the bat. I'm like walking down the street to the art museum I'm going to, and I'm eating both of them. I went back 2 days later and I was talking to the lady. I was like, I just wanted to confirm, like, everything is gluten-free. Like, what I just ate was so delicious, so divine. Like, I've never had anything that good. And she's like, no, the ones you ate were not gluten-free. They were only vegan. But because their process, like their flour, how they process their flour is very different than the way that we process it in the US, I didn't get sick. I did not get sick. Now, I've read and I've heard about the people who live in the US and they move to some of these cool European countries with gluten intolerances and then they can eat the stuff over here. I did not get sick. I did not get bloated. I did